Welcome to this episode of the Outfront Podcast with host Vince Noble, the podcast that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. For sponsorship and advertisement opportunities, please contact info@nobleresolutions.com. And now, your host, Vince Noble.
I want to acknowledge each and every one of you who is stepping into your authentic power today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outfront Podcast, the show that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. I am your host, Vince Noble. So listen, I am super excited today. We have this amazing guest with us that I believe personifies what this show is all about. We have with us today Marques Ogden, where we will be talking about his transition from the NFL, his business, overcoming adversity, and so much more. So let's go.
I would tell you is that, if you're not fit to put in at least 5 to 7 years to get your company or get your journey or get your vision in the best chance to succeed, don't even bother starting.
So today we are super excited to have with us today Mr. Marques Ogden. Marques is a former National Football League athlete, keynote speaker, executive coach, business consultant, and best-selling author. His latest book is entitled The Success Cycle. Marques, welcome to the show today, brother.
How you doing, Vincent? Thanks for having me on, sir.
Hey, wonderful, wonderful. So today, we certainly have a lot to unpack. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about your current business and what you're currently doing today.
I am currently a national and international keynote speaker, executive coach, best-selling author, and corporate trainer. I've also authored 2 best-selling books, Sleepless Nights and The Success Cycle. And The Success Cycle, honestly, Vincent, is being able to be purchased on Amazon online, Barnes & Noble online, and it's also in every Barnes & Noble bookstore across the country. And it was just made an Audible book probably about less than 2 weeks ago as well. So very exciting times for our brand and what we have going on moving forward. And we also do, Vincent, do some online process, some subscription model information where people who can't afford our higher ticket coaching or consulting can still get value for a very affordable price. Nothing, Vincent, is more than $20 to have access to certain content to help people get where they're trying to go.
Hey, that's awesome, Marques. I tell you, I've purchased the Success Cycle, and it's loaded with value. And I'm doing my second deep dive on the book, and I tell you, I'm getting a great deal from that book. Good stuff. So today, Marques, I understand that you're from the Washington, D.C. area, and where you grew up with your brother, raised by your father, a single parent at the time. Tell us a little bit about what your early childhood was like or your early influences growing up in Washington, D.C.
My childhood was one that was very much, it was difficult because, again, parents divorced. Father was our provider, best friend, everything you could think of, great. And he raised us. And again, at the end of the day, what I want people to understand is the following, that our childhood was one that we were raised with 3 major things. Number 1 is respecting women. Number 2, respecting ourselves. And 3, education over sports. And that's really where it lies for me. And I am very excited to tell people that our father was the main reason that we are who we are today as men.
You know, that's wonderful, Marques. I think one of the things in our society today that single fathers don't get the credit that they deserve, and that's wonderful that he has raised two outstanding men to be what you and your brother Jonathan have grown up to be. Now your older brother Jonathan Ogden. It was once said by Michael Sheehan that who played for the Giants, New York Giants, said that your brother was the kind of guy that wouldn't break, and he said he hated to play Baltimore because Jonathan would always embarrass him. He was just that tough. But your older brother Jonathan Ogden played college football for the UCLA Bruins. He was recognized as a unanimous All-American. He was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the first round, 4th overall pick in the 1996 NFL draft. What was that like leading up to the draft and hearing your brother's name called in the first round?
Well, to have my brother have his name called in the first round, Vincent, it was absolutely just an amazing feeling because he had worked so hard to get to this point, and he had done nothing but just put out the effort, the energy, the time, the dedication to become the best. And that's what he did. And he deserved everything he got, from being drafted at number 4 overall by the Baltimore Ravens in 1996 to his first ballot Hall of Fame induction to being one of the 100 greatest NFL players of all time, and regarded, Vincent, as one of the best to ever play the left tackle position.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Jonathan goes on, as you said, he played in the NFL. He goes on to be an 11-time Pro Bowl selectee, a 9-time All-Pro selectee, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was with the Ravens his entire career, and he was with them when they won the Super Bowl in 2001. And not only that, he became the highest paid lineman in NFL history and is said to have earned over $71 million. Now, the both of you certainly have done your family and the people of D.C. quite well, my friend. So, Marques, what was it like having an older brother to follow with that type of success to follow within the same sport and position? Was there any type of competitiveness or a house rivalry of some sort against the other growing up?
No, because my brother is almost 7 years older than me. So there wasn't a lot of the competition. We didn't have a lot of that, going on. We were very much just supporting each other. Like when my first varsity high school football game, he got to actually come to us at one of our scrimmages because he was just drafted by the Ravens, and he was able to drive an hour back to come watch me play to help give me some advice and some knowledge on how to do my game and perfect my craft at the highest level. So there was no any of that. There was no comparison. There was no, competition because we were so far apart in age. But it was great to have him so close to where I was growing up in D.C. with him being in Baltimore, because that really helped me to become a phenomenal football player, in my own right.
Yeah, that's truly awesome. That's truly awesome. Were your ambitions always set on playing college football and playing in the NFL?
No, absolutely not. Honestly, I want to follow my father's footsteps. My father was an investment banker, and he worked for the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York in their D.C. office. So I actually went to school wanting to be an investment banker, go work on Wall Street in New York for Merrill Lynch. That was my dream.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of led you to play at Howard University?
That was my only scholarship offer. That was my only offer that I got. And as a result of that, it really helped me to get in a position where I could just go to college. And it was great because my father was a Howard grad as well. And with that being the case, it was able to help me get and continue that legacy, Vincent, at Howard, to make him proud and make myself proud.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Marques, you yourself, you end up getting drafted in the 6th round by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2003. So you go on to play a total of about 8 seasons with several different professional teams. And at some point, you decided it was time to make a transition to something else, right? So What were the conditions that led to your transition, and what was sort of your mindset then, and what did you encounter?
So when I left the game, I had some injuries. I had some back injuries. I had some knee injuries, and I was just not the same player that I was in my youth. Maybe like 5 years when I first started my whole career. So in real terms, what happened was I had to realize and make myself understand that if I couldn't perform at the highest level any longer, it was time to move on. And then that's what I did. And it was a struggle, Vincent. I wasn't prepared for it. I had to work really hard. And what happened was I ended up putting myself in the same situation of just, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? And then I found a construction company. And with the construction company, I became the largest African-American subcontractor in the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland. And that's when I built a massive business, Vincent. But unfortunately, I became very egotistical, very arrogant, and I stopped listening to people. And as a result of that, I lost my business and filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2013.
Oh, wow. So again, you decide to go into the construction business. So at the very beginning, Marques, what were the skill sets that sort of prepared you to go into business the first time, more specifically the construction business?
Here's the thing is that, the construction business I kind of fell into by just kind of mistake, right? Because I just wanted to chase the dollars and cents. I should have never been in construction when I left the NFL. I should have gone into some type of, development to maybe move into coaching or something like that. That time, that would have been a much better fit. But I didn't have any guidance as far as mentorship in that area. And I kind of needed a break from football. So the construction business was a good way for me to kind of set this up and see, okay, if I can do this for a while, if I like it, I'll continue. If I don't like it, then I'll move on to something else. But unfortunately, Vincent, I started making a lot of money early in my career in construction, and that was a gift and a curse.
So I would say from a National Football League Player Association perspective, what business resources, mentoring, or transition assistance was available to you during that transition from the NFL?
When I left the game, there wasn't any. In 2008, when I left the NFL, there was none of that. In 2013, that's when it got set up with the Gene Upshaw Trust Fund, NFL Player Care Foundation. And that's when I was able to, matter of fact, when I filed for bankruptcy, the Trust and Player Care Foundation had only been in existence for about less than a few months. And I was one of the first players that I was able to get assistance from them, Vincent, when I filed that Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2013. So when I left the game in 07, 08, there wasn't anything set up. But now there is, and that got initiated, Vincent, as part of the new CBA agreement back in 2013.
Okay, so at one point you just sort of began to encounter just management, financial difficulty in the business. What was sort of some of the challenges that you faced that brought about the financial difficulty at the time?
What happened was I ended up spending, Vincent, about $2.5 to $3 million of my money on a project in Baltimore City for a client, and I was supposed to get paid back by the developer and contractor the change order work, but I was not. And as a result of that, I ended up having to file that bankruptcy because I spent all of the money and it was not repaid back. So I tell everybody all the time, the first thing you do in business, every job you go on, it is specific to that job. Anything you've done in the past, even for the same client, it's a job by job, contract by contract setup. So if you don't dot your I's and cross your T's on each contract, you can put yourself in a position then so you can get taken advantage of.
Right, absolutely. So your latest book, Marques, is The Success Cycle: What was your inspiration for the book?
I wanted to show people the roadmap that we have designed to get us to where we are today. From, again, Vincent, 7.5 years ago, I was bankrupt. I was broke. I had $400 to my name. All of my assets were stripped from me. Home foreclosed on, both cars repossessed in the same day. I was working as a job as a custodian for $8.25 an hour after I was fired from 2 jobs in the same week. And when I had my pivotal moment, Vincent, and someone's trash, rotten banana peels, spoiled milk got on my bare skin, clothes, and body, at that time is when I had the light bulb moment, like, okay, if I don't make this change today, I'm going to be here the rest of my life. So the success cycle is really about ambition, which is creating your blueprint and creating a roadmap for your life, followed by drive, which is about being inspired over motivated, which means you have to put in things and be creative and have them come from within and not motivated by external forces and factors. And then it's all about hard work. Focus on yourself and not the competition. You can do those 3 things, and you put yourself in the best chance to achieve success.
Again, I believe, we become who we are over time, both good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. So as we continue to evolve in many ways, you talk a lot about ambition, drive, and hard work, Marques. What are some of the early life examples you can recall that sort of personally required you to begin to frame your life, if you will, around some of those principles?
For me with speaking, when I came home after the pivotal moment, that's where ambition came in. I sat down, I wrote down my 3 biggest strengths. I then followed it up by, okay, what do I want to do? And I figured out with my strengths of being a good storyteller, being a good communicator, wanting to help people, it made sense to become a speaker. So that aligned to the passion. I did a little more research on being a speaker, that aligned. So I pursued it. Now, of course, it's not as easy as everybody makes it seem to be because, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of foundational work that goes into it. But that was the ambition part of my journey. Coming home after that pivotal moment and writing those things down. So that's step 1. Then 2 was the drive. It took me 2.5 years to get my first paid speaking job. If I was just motivated to be a speaker, I would have burnt out after about 3, maximum 6 months. And then hard work. Once I had my first paid speaking job and I figured out what worked, I started to focus on myself and what I needed to do. And I stopped focusing on the competition. And that's when things got better.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, Marques, I once heard you say that many are not fit for the journey. What would you say to that today?
I would tell you is that, if you're not fit to put in at least 5 to 7 years to get your company or get your journey or get your vision in the best chance to succeed, don't even bother starting because it's not going to happen overnight. People say, oh my God, LeBron James got this huge contract yesterday. Well, how about when he was playing basketball since he was like 9 or 10? Right? Oh, Patrick Mahomes has got this huge $500 million contract. Well, how about when he was playing football as a kid and he worked and went to Texas Tech, learned from Cliff Kingsbury, applied himself, went to Kansas City, sat for a year behind Alex Smith, had an okay first year and had a phenomenal year 2, and now he's got his contract. Nothing happens overnight. So if you're not prepared to put in 5 to 7 years minimum into the business, don't even bother starting.
Absolutely. So, Marques, hey, we're in that segment of the show that we call Hot Seat, where we ask a few random hot topic questions that we ask. So my first question would be, how do you personally define success?
Success is about what you're able to do with what you have to help others. It's just not about what you have. Having $100 million, okay, let's take Robert Smith from Morehouse, $5 billion empire, but he gives back. He paid debt off to Morehouse students. He starts his own philanthropy funds. He encourages young people to go for their dreams. He makes it cool to be into coding and working in different spaces around, private equity groups. Like he's out there making a real change. So to me, that is success, is doing something great with what you have to help others. I tell you all the time, money is a tool, but your heart is the determining factor.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's something people seem to misunderstand about Marques?
People think that I just got here overnight. They think that I became this successful speaker just because I wanted to do it. Or a big one that I would say the biggest one people misunderstand is that my past football career has really had a major factor in my speaking business success. That's inaccurate. Has it helped me open a few doors? Yeah, here or there. But I've worked for 17 Fortune 500 companies, right, Vincent, in the last 4 years. And of those 17, 10 are Fortune 100. People like AXA Advisors, JP Morgan and Chase, the Home Depot Company, Cisco, Siemens, NetApp, New York Life, MetLife, Liberty Mutual Insurance. They don't care if I played football in the NFL. Is it nice? Sure. It's kind of like a little carrot, kind of caveat, but do they really care about that if they're going to make that a determining factor in hiring me to open up and speak to their teams? Absolutely not. And so that's the whole point, is that you have to put yourself in a position to work. And that was exactly why, Vincent, I struggled in the beginning with my speaking career. I was trying to lean on my past of being a former NFL athlete. And honestly, that had nothing to do with with me doing what I was trying to do. My first career had nothing to do with what my second career was. So that was a big mistake I made. But a lot of people truly believe that my NFL career has really helped me a whole lot to get where I am. It might have opened a door here or there, especially in the beginning. This is for free jobs, like, high school football, middle school football, my community initiatives. When you're talking about big corporations, big stages, big companies, Bank of America, all these big boys, if you don't have the real value, they don't care if you play in the NFL or not. They're not going to hire you.
One of the things I know about you, Marques, is that today you do a considerable amount of mentoring to younger NFL players as well. So my next question would be in lines with, what are your thoughts on kneeling in professional sports?
I tell people all the time, you can do what you want to do, but understand when you do something, people are going to speak their mind. If you want to kneel, that's on you. If you want to stand, that's on you. But I tell players all the time, just do whatever you're doing for the right reason and stand behind whatever you want to do. But again, if you do something, right, and people don't agree with you, understand that they're going to have their opinions, their backlash, and that's just the way life is. So whatever you believe in, you go ahead and do that. You stand behind it. But be sure that you're able to explain why you do something and do it for what I tell people all the time is the right reason.
So, Marques, what is one of your biggest failures, and what did you learn from it?
My biggest failure was when my best employee from Caden Premier tried to tell me that, Marques, if we don't fix this process and fix the company and how we're bleeding money and we're not doing this and not doing that, if we don't fix this, we're going to be bankrupt in 6 months. My biggest failure was shunning that employee, not listening to him, not allow him to feel included in, which is around the whole process of inclusion. And I created a very unhealthy, toxic culture. Behavior plus time times employees equals your culture. And the behaviors of the organization were set by me and were ones that were putrid, horrible, and absolutely lackluster and unprofessional. And he was the only one that tried to help me turn it around. I didn't listen to him. That was on a Friday. He came in on a Monday. He gave me his 2-week resignation papers. As soon as he closed the door to walk out for his last day, 6 months to the day, like he predicted, the company went bankrupt.
Wow, that's an amazing lesson to learn. So my last question, Marques, would be, what advice would you give someone who has failed at a business, however, wanting to pursue other business opportunities?
There's 3 things you need to build your business on. Number 1 is operational excellence. Strong internal policies and procedures and communication. Strong external policies, procedures, and communication. Delegation of tasks to the right team members. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be quality product. Whatever you're selling, make sure it's a quality product that produces client satisfaction. Number 3 is going to be excellent customer service and feedback policies. Learning how to get people's feedback, your client base, your potential client base, your employees, different organizational members, some of your partners in businesses, some of your different people, your vendors or your brokers, whatever the case may be. Making sure that you have excellent customer service, and that starts with getting feedback from people, not just getting the feedback, but implementing the feedback at the highest level. So again, if you have strong operational excellence, if you have quality products that create great client satisfaction, and if you have excellent customer service, you can rebuild and start over and be successful in any business with those 3 foundational pillars.
That's some awesome insight, Marques, and thanks for that. So today's episode is brought to you by Noble Resolution, Inc., Leadership Coaching and Consulting. Leadership development is a strategic choice, a commitment to future that balances the need for action with the necessity to taking time to learn. For more information, go to www.nobleresolution.com. So Marques, before we go today, how can people purchase your latest books again? How can they connect with you online or through social media?
So they can go to our website, www.marques, M-A-R-Q-U-E-S, Ogden, O-G-D-E-N.com. You can go to follow me on LinkedIn at Marques Ogden, Instagram at Marques Ogden, Facebook's Marques Ogden. We also have a business page, which is also Marques Ogden, public speaker. Our Twitter is Marques_Ogden. You can shoot us an email, Marques_Ogden at yahoo.com. That comes right to my phone. And again, we do keynote speaking, virtual webinars. We do group coaching. We do one-on-one coaching. We do consulting. We have 2 books that we have now. Of course, my first book is a little bit harder to get because the first company went out of business, but we still have our main book is the Success Cycle. You can get it at Amazon online, Barnes & Noble online. You can also get it off our website, and you can get it at any Barnes & Noble bookstore across the U.S. Also, you can get the audio book, The Success Cycle. You can download that on Audible. It was narrated by an award-winning voiceover actor, Mr. David Zastin. Did a phenomenal job. And then in January 1st, 2021, Vincent, we're going to be starting our subscription model. For $9.95, you can have access to up to 13. So it's $9.95 a month. So it's basically less than $10 a month that you have access to up to 13 videos per month. One video is going to be on a big theme. Like we're going to have each month, we'll have like goal setting, networking, consistency, right? Things you need to be successful. So we'll have 13 videos, right? The first one's going to be about 2.5 minutes in length. Then all the other videos, you'll get one on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You get your big first opening video to start the month, right, Vincent? Then every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll get a video with one quick action step to help you be successful directly tied to that theme, consistency or networking or goal setting. It's going to be 2 minutes in length or less, no more. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So again, it's 13 videos, give or take, per month for $9.95 a month. If you want to go up to another level for $14.95 a month, you have access to all the library content videos, right, Vincent? Then you can have access to our Facebook group where you're going to get live, recordings and things of that nature. You get to interact with other entrepreneurs, leaders in a very private, closed setting. That's $14.95 per month. And then you have a one-time fee if you'd like to get the Extreme Ownership Playbook PDF downloadable book. That's $19.95 for a one-time fee. So again, it's either $9.95 a month, Vincent, for our basic package with our 13 videos per month around different topics that help get you energized with an action tip. $14.95 a month is those videos plus the Facebook group. Or you can pay $19.95 to have your downloaded Extreme Ownership Playbook to help you start taking action and ownership of your own life. And again, these products will all be available on our website, on our platform, starting January 1st of 2021. You can just get it through a subscription model, and you'll get it every single month. These great videos, or have the Facebook group, or you can get your own Extreme Ownership Playbook to help you take control of your own life. And then again, that will start January 1st of 2021. And we created that, Vincent, for the everyday person who can't afford our high-ticket coaching or consulting, but they still want to invest minimally, something they can afford to get ahead in life. And that's why we're creating this subscription model for next year and going forward.
That's awesome, Mark. It sounds like it's loaded with value, and I'm sure that a lot of individuals will benefit from that. So, Marcus, hey, once again, hey, thank you for joining us today and sharing a part of your story. It has certainly been all my pleasure, and we hope to catch up with you later in season 2 to see how things are going with you. So, again, once again, Marcus, thank you for joining.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you having me, Vincent.
Thanks, everyone, for staying with us today. And we certainly hope that you enjoyed today's episode. So if you'd like, join our Facebook group, Out Front with Vince Noble. And, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your episode. Also, stay tuned for next week. We'll be joined with Miss Davy Davenport, talk show host, Davy Davenport Live, and the confidant to some of Hollywood's biggest stars. We'll be talking about how to overcome fear and manifest the level of success that you desire. You don't want to miss this episode. Until then, remember, you still get to write your story.